My last video was a look into proposed loot box laws in the US and the issues regarding them. I feel like I addressed everything I wanted to in that video, but there is something regarding loot boxes that is a point of contention within myself, and that's card games. TCGs, CCGs, etc. The online-based card games have their roots in physical card games and follow the same structure with card packs, but the same can be said for any other game that has loot boxes. They follow the same structure of common, uncommon, rare, and mythic. Take for example Overwatch. There are character skins that follow that same basis, but there are other items that can fill those roles as well. Voice lines, sprays, currency, etc. So I know the issue isn't with the way it's structured, but with the way it's manipulated and manipulative to keep people spending. But isn't the structure the same as physical TCGs? Let's take a deeper dive into why card games are technically gambling. Okay, so I know card games aren't really gambling. They're parallel to the loot box system, which is gambling, but what's the difference? So you can go online right now or into a physical store and drop $99.99 on packs of cards from Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever. You can bust open all the packs, take what you need and trade or sell the rest. Isn't that more akin to gambling? In my last video, the UK Minister for Digital and Creative Industries, Margot James, said that loot boxes aren't gambling because there's no additional financial reward. You can buy an Ultimate Masters MTG pack for around $20 right now, and if you're lucky, open a Liliana of the Veil Planeswalker card worth around $300. There's a monetary reward that's dependent on luck in that situation, which is likened to gambling. But why isn't it gambling? Wizards of the Coast, the creators of Magic the Gathering, have never directly addressed the secondary market for cards, with the acknowledgement of the fact that some cards are more valuable than others and allows gambling laws to directly affect them. So what about online card games? In Hearthstone, you can still buy packs, you can still spend $99.99 on packs and bust them all open, but you can't trade them. You can't sell them, you can't do anything other than disenchant them for a currency used to create cards with dust. The dust you get per card is worth a quarter of the dust needed to create that card. There's no card that is better than the rest, so much so that it'll give you 10 times the amount of dust of a worse card. But Hearthstone, and games of the like, Magic the Gathering Arena, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, would still legally fall under the proposed loot box laws in the US, due to them being video games. This begs the question, are any loot boxes really gambling? Most games that have a loot box system have a similar system to Hearthstone, that being a system in place that guarantees a mythic level item after a set amount of boxes are bought. And that's the kicker. That's where the issue lies. If you buy 40 packs in Hearthstone, you are guaranteed a legendary card within those packs. It's called a pity timer, a surefire way to keep people buying because they know, eventually, they'll get the card or item that they want. Or, they'll have to continue to buy in order to disenchant the card they don't want to create the cards that they do want. This system is in all games with loot boxes, just with varying amounts of necessary purchases. You can't say the same for any physical trading card game because there's no AI system in place to allow for that since it's, physical. So I think the issue with loot boxes isn't whether or not they're gambling, it's the manipulation and the instant gratification. In Overwatch, you can buy the 14 boxes needed to get a legendary, open them, equip the skin, and hop in game. In physical trading card games, however, you can open differing amounts of packs to open a mythic, and if it's good enough, and you have all the other cards needed to make it work, you can build a deck around it. There's even a chance you won't even see the card while playing with that deck. There's a lot more effort needed, and a lot less guarantee to get a card worth building around. Now the same could be said for Hearthstone, but there are more games with loot boxes than there are online CCGs. So here's my take on it. All of this shit is gambling, without a shadow of a doubt. There's a manipulative aspect to the online CCGs and to the physical TCGs as well. MTG has been able to skirt around the gambling laws in other countries because it's a lot easier for a physical system to do that than an online one that has a set system in place that's easier to define. Activision Blizzard already tried to get around China's law in 2017 requiring drop rates to be clearly defined by selling dust but giving free packs of cards along with it. It was pretty awful and didn't work. I don't think any games company is going to be able to get around the loot box law that's being proposed. EA had tried to brute force the Belgian government into conceding to them by just not adhering to their laws, and that didn't work either. That's at least a little comforting. knowing that if laws were set in place, there wouldn't really be a way for these companies to try to get around them. That is, until the next best way to suck money out of people comes along. So I want to end the video saying that I don't know how they would fix online card games with the proposed laws. With other games, it's as easy as just selling the contents of the loot boxes for a price. Or just putting them into the game anyways. I already bought the fucking thing, just let me have it. If the same thing were to happen to the card games, well, it would probably suck. They would upcharge the cards they know are better, and they wouldn't have to turn a blind eye to it like Wizards of the Coast, because the company is the one perpetrating it. It's not a secondary market. There wouldn't be a dusting system anymore because you could just buy a ton of cheap shitty cards and make an expensive one. I'm sure there's a better way to go about it, but it's not my fucking job to figure it out. Alright, I know this one was short, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any better proposals of how they could fix CCGs, let me know in the comments.